on the line with me right now, Sharon from Within Temptation. Sharon, thanks for taking my call.
No problem. It's great to be on your show. Thank you.
No problems at all. Sharon, if I could just, we'll move to your new album very shortly, but if I could just backtrack, ask you a couple of questions about yourself and the band. When did you discover music, Sharon?
Music in general. Well, I was, I think, 4 years old when I was having a cassette recorder and a microphone and singing along with songs that I could record and stuff like that. And at the time, I was living in Indonesia with my parents.
Okay, when did you first realise that you had this wonderful voice?
Well, I think age 10, 11, because that was the first time I entered when I joined a band. It was a band in school. We formed a small group, and we played in the well, how do you call that? Where people eat in the lunch, you know, the break time.
Yeah.
They have just for fun, because our teacher was really enthusiastic about what we were doing. Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, that was the first experience to play for an audience also.
Okay. Now we'll skip forward to the formation of Within Temptation in about 1996. How did that come about?
I met Robert in school, and he was already in a band called The Circle at the time. The band, he asked me to invent songs. I was already his girlfriend at the time, to sing. And because the girl that they had in the band was not always showing up when she was supposed to, and they had booked a studio, so that costed money. And he was like, you know, please be a backup if she doesn't turn up. I really need you. It's like, okay. Eventually, of course, she did turn up, but then she didn't do it in the right way that they wanted to. So I had my opportunity was to sing 2 songs. Anyway, the band split up, and we started a new band. So yeah, we met each other in high school, and that was also indirect beginning of Within Temptation.
Tell us about the early years of Within Temptation. Was it difficult in the early years, or do you just think you just got really lucky pretty quickly? How did it work out for you?
Well, very quickly we realized we made music that wasn't around much. You know, like we were inspired by a band called Paradise Lost from England. They were you saw a movement that there was this grunge. You know, the death metal scene was getting more melodic, because that was the most heaviest period there was at the time, and then it became more melodic slowly on. So people were starting to combine death metal with melodies, and so did we, because we had grunge in the beginning, and but we were very much inspired by Clannad and a combination of metal and a lot of folk kind of stuff. And so Dead Can Dance. I don't know if you know these names, are a long time back. Anyway, but when we started, we realized we made something that nobody else was actually making, and we had, like, I think that's probably also one of the reasons we were successful, is because the fact that we didn't have any competition, or not that much, you know. So it was when you have this X factor, then it's much easier, I guess. And we just made a very the only way was up for us every time, with every album and everything we did so far. And of course, there are more bands now doing the same thing, and and it's still going strong. So it's been a roller coaster for us, but a very nice one.
Excellent. Right, now your new album, Resist, is coming out very soon. Now, there's a long time between the previous album and this one. Can we talk about that, the time gap there, if you're comfortable?
Yeah, of course, no problem.
Why did it take so long?
That's a good question. Well, after I came back from the Hydra, I was really, really tired, and especially from all the touring, because the touring does has a certain toll it asks from you. You know, it's heavy because you're away for a long time. You miss out on a lot of things, and for me, it was especially that my dad got really sick, and for me, it was also time to go in a period of well, looking at my own life, like I've been doing this for almost 22 years at the time. And what do I want for the future also? Because my whole adult life I've been in this band and doing this, which was lovely. And I had to create this time with the guys and everything. But still, at the time, I was really not sure if I wanted to continue because, well, you miss out when you're on tour. It's a strange life. Nobody has it. Everybody else lives a normal life that you know of, that you grew up with. So you miss out on birthdays, you miss out when kids get born. You miss out on from friends, but also people passing away, a few weddings. Sometimes you're in the country, but a lot of times you're not. So it's life is also about making new memories with friends you have. But you can't always keep living on old memories. You remember that one? It's like, we talked about it last time, but whether we're going to do something now, in the now. And that was something that also made me realize, like, okay, we might have to change the way we're touring, or something has to change. And we did also. We were touring now in a different way than we did in the past. In the past, we were just going on tour for 6 weeks, and with a very short break, like a few days in between, and then going on for another 3.
Yeah.
And now it's like we have almost 2 weeks off between. After 2 or 3 weeks of touring, there's 2 weeks more or less free time for ourselves, and then we go on tour again for another 2 or 3, and that's already better. But I think it might be, if it's necessary, to have more time even in between. But it's working for us. It's a nice thing to continue. And but to make, so I made a to keep it short. But the thing is that I also made a solo album, also because the thing that I was going through, I was just I had put everything in perspective for myself, and at the same time I wasn't able to write for Within Temptation, had a writer's block. But it came out my solo project called My Indigo, and which is totally music, but music that I felt at the time when I was going through this phase. And but everything turned out well in the end, because after I did My Indigo, I was able to write again for Within Temptation in a way that I felt the music again, and I knew which direction to go. Not just me, but also the people I was working with. And so a year ago we started with the Resist album. We started after the last summer day until the first summer day of vacation this year. We produced, wrote, and recorded everything, and that was very quick. So it was quicker than ever. So it's possible, but still, because of My Indigo project and everything, it did take me almost 5 years for the album to be released.
Yeah. Okay. So the new album's coming out now. I've heard conflicting dates of when it's actually coming out. When is it coming out?
So as far as I know, it's the 1st of February.
Right. Okay.
But it's it was supposed to be in December, but I hope everybody has one release date. Sometimes in different countries there's different release dates. So, but as far as I know, it's worldwide the 1st of February.
Yep, I'd obviously read something that hadn't been updated, so that's okay.
Okay.
Right, the first video we saw just recently was The Reckoning. Tell us about that. Well,
we wanted to have a video that has a not very typical enemy. It's like, I think our biggest enemy is we ourselves are our biggest enemy. So it's in a way also with the second video, it has of course the first time you see spaceship, it's like coming in, and but the second video is Raise Your Banner. We just released it.
Mm-hmm.
And what comes more to the surface there is like how humans are human. That's the idea behind that video, and it fits both the new visual side of Within Temptation, where in the past we were, we looked differently. We stage clothes and stuff like that, and now it's more futuristic. I think it's a little bit more. It fits better with the sound of the music and the appearance that we have, the visuals that we have. So it's more futuristic.
Mm. I was allowed to stream the album through, the record company. I have to tell
Okay.
you, I really like Endless War
Yes.
and Holy Ground and Mad World. They are just magnificent.
Oh wow. And why is that?
I don't know. They just had that nice groove. You know how different songs grab people in different ways. They just grabbed me, those ones. So I really like those.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can tell you a little bit about where our inspiration came from. It's like I think our music is a bit different from the previous album, and it started actually with my Indigo because I was inspired by more urban kind of music, and then you have also you have more different rhythms that you use for urban music. So if you take that as a basis, and of course you do the same kind of thing like with heavy guitars and orchestration and things that we normally do, you get you get a more groovy kind of songs. And that's for the first time for us. We're never a groovy band. We always try to be, but never found a way to be so. And this time, I think it worked out really well with this album. And I think that the songs that you just mentioned are mostly they're very groovy. They have that feel, this more urban kind of touch.